Today we're going to talk about naming ionic compounds. So it's really important that you start to familiarize yourself with the periodic table and where the elements are located. Okay, so what is an ionic compound made out of? It is made of a metal and a non-metal. So the first thing you need to do is take a look at your periodic table to find out where those are.
So if you look, we've got a periodic table here and we've divided it up into metals and non-metals. Everything in red, that's all these items over in here, are the metals. Everything in blue over in this area and the two elements on top are considered non-metals. This is very important. You need to be able to look at your periodic table and know which elements are metals and which elements are non-metals. And as we go out throughout the year, it's going to become more important each 6 weeks. So make sure you remember, red is metal, blue is non-metal. So let's take a look. If you look on your periodic table, lithium and sulfur, look at their groups. Okay? Find their groups. That's going to make a difference here in the future. Lithium is in group 1, sulfur is in group 16. Okay? Lithium is what is it? Is it in the red? If it's in the red, it should be a metal, so it's always going to be first. So we always, whatever that first metal is, you just tell the name what it is on the periodic table. Then the second one, the non-metal, it's a little bit different. So look, technically it's called sulfur, right? S-U-L-F-U-R. But look at the word, lithium sulfur. That doesn't quite sound right. So in ionic bonding, what we do is we take the ending off and we add I-D-E. Okay? So now say it again. It says lithium sulfide. That sounds a little more correct, right?
Okay, the next one. So the rules for naming an ionic compound is you name the metal. Here's a big hint. That's always going to be listed first. Then you name the non-metal, drop the ending, and add IDE. So look on your periodic table. What is K? K is a metal. It is potassium. So the first thing that you do is write potassium. Now look on your periodic table and find F. It is in group 17. It is called fluorine. Be careful on the spelling on this one. It is spelled F-L-U, like flu, fluorine, but remember I'm going to drop the ending, and instead of saying fluorine, I'm going to say fluoride. Drop the ending and add IDE. So KF is called potassium fluoride.
So now let's move on to the next one. Look at your metal, find it on the periodic table. What group is it? It's in group number 2. What's the name? Remember, metals is exactly how it is on the periodic table. You don't ever alter that first word. Then find chlorine. If you'll look, it's in group 17. Chlorine is in the swimming pool that you got into this summer. It's in a lot of other things too. So remember, we drop the ending and add what? Just like from above, it's I-D-E. Okay? If we look at magnesium chlorine, that doesn't sound quite right, so we go to magnesium chloride. Now don't forget, these little numbers over here when we're doing this naming, they're not needed, so don't worry about it. Don't let it freak you out. Just look at the elements and tell me the names of it.
Okay, last one. Remember, these subscripts don't matter at all for naming. They will matter later when you learn how to go from the name to the chemical formula. But for naming, you just look at the letters. So we're going to name our metal. Where is Al? That is aluminum. Then we're going to name our non-metal, which is oxygen. Drop the ending and add IDE. Pretty simple, right? Please practice these. Please familiarize yourself with the periodic table because you will have a quiz at the end of next week. See you next time.
Don't forget, guys, say the name out loud, too. If it doesn't sound right, guess what? You probably didn't do it right. So make sure you say the name to yourself so that you can get the idea of how these things are supposed to sound. We'll see you on the flip side.